And welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today, we're talking about the NBA top headlines and stories, just some of the latest news around the NBA. And so let's start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have absolutely been on a tear, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have looked good offensively. They've looked great defensively. They just got done dismantling the Golden State Warriors last night. And the question that I have for the Cleveland Cavaliers is just going to be, can they stay healthy? Can they stay healthy with their bigs in Evan Mobley and then also to Jared Allen? And then also when it comes down to the playoff time, can Donovan Mitchell be that player that steps up? This is the player that the Utah Jazz were looking for. Can he do that for the Cleveland Cavaliers? I think that is going to be the question. But I know it is early in the season. They are 10-0. The Cleveland Cavaliers have looked pretty good. The Boston Celtics continue to look good. Not worried about them at all. Jason Tatum looks like he is on a mission, along with Jaylen Brown. I think that this team is going to be right there towards the end. The New York Knicks, I think that trade is starting to work itself out now. I think that Karl Anthony Towns is starting to figure this thing out. I think defensively, the Knicks are going to be fine. And it's really all about them staying healthy at this point in time. The Charlotte Hornets, look, they're finding ways to get wins late in games. I think that it is good that they got Brandon Miller back. I think LaMelo Ball has to be on the floor with this team. And for them, the Charlotte Hornets, they don't even have their two big men. And so when they get their two big men back, I think that the Charlotte Hornets are going to be pretty dangerous in the Eastern Conference. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to be top in the Eastern Conference, but when they get their two big men back who are both lob threats down there, that team is going to be exciting. The Indiana Pacers, I think that they are starting to figure it out after a slow start. I love that Tyrese Halliburton has got it going. This is a team that I've absolutely liked, and I like what they've been doing just going back to last season. Really like what they have. I think that they are going to be a team as long as they're healthy. They're going to be there late as well. The Brooklyn Nets have been really surprising me. I think with the way Cam Thomas has played, I can remember Jay Billis talking about how he was such a great scorer coming out of the NBA draft, and he's been phenomenal. And then also, too, they've been getting some good contributions from Ben Simmons out there. I thought that this team might be looking to tank, but quietly, they've been winning some games out there. The Detroit Pistons turned it around after a slow start, still trying to figure it out with their young core. Orlando has struggled, especially now since, they don't have Ben Carroll. He is out due to an injury indefinitely right now. So I think that is going to flip around for them when they get him back. The Atlanta Hawks starting to put it together. I like what they are getting from Zachary Rizichet. I think that he's starting to play very well as they give him some minutes. Still need to figure out a lot with this roster, but I like that they're kind of figuring it out, at least with their draft selection at number one there. With the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler has just gone down. That's going to be tough for them. I think that's something that Pat Riley had talked about, is that Jimmy Butler has to stay healthy. The Chicago Bulls, look, they are still in a mess at this point. I mean, there's trade speculations around Zach LaVine. There's trade speculation around Vooch. I think what's even more wild for this team is now they're talking about a possibility of Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu being moved, but they're trying to pivot to a youth movement. And these are two players that I think have really shown some promise, I should say. And so it just doesn't make sense here for the Chicago Bulls at this point in time. They have to get a direction. That's it, period. They need to get a direction. Next up, the Washington Wizards. I think that you're seeing that they're playing a ton of their rookies right now, not expected to go anywhere. Toronto really struggling with injuries. And Milwaukee, look, they're in major trouble. In fact, I think it was Shams there on ESPN talked about this last night, that they are calling everybody. Look, they're looking for somebody that can guard. They're looking for somebody that can score. They're looking for anybody that can help them out. And I just don't see this with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that once they traded off, Drew Holiday, they really pretty much set themselves up for, hey, we're going to try to go all in on the offensive end. We're not too worried about the defense. And this is what happens. Look, it's great to score points, but no matter what you do in any sport, you have to stop somebody. And that's what the Milwaukee Bucks can't do. They can't stop a parked car. Next up for the Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers have been just injured. That's the whole deal. And so, I mean, with Tyrese Maxey going down, Paul George is back. Joel Embiid is set to be out there, I think, Tuesday. But the worst case scenario happened for the Philadelphia 76ers, and that's injuries. Not just injuries with Joel Embiid. You knew that there was a possibility of an injury with Paul George. I don't think they expected for it to start off this way. And then you lose Tyrese Maxey like that. This team could be in some serious trouble as well, depending on what happens to them and how far they really fall back before they get everybody together and they can start to build some chemistry here. With the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns, they've been a pleasant surprise. I mean, they've been getting it done right now. This is a roster where I think that it definitely helped that they got Coach Bud as the head coach. I think that they still scare me as far as just not having enough on this roster if some of the main players go down, like a Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. Like, I think that definitely is going to hurt the Phoenix Suns. But right now they have it rolling. They're winning close games. OKC, look, we know that OKC is good. It's just a matter of now that they've traded Josh Giddey, how much better are they going to be this season than they were last season? They have a legit defender in Alex Caruso. Can he turn it around for this team as well? So far they're 8-1. Next up, the Golden State Warriors. Been a pleasant surprise. They're third in the West. Draymond Green talked about the fact that this team has elected not to make a trade that would set the franchise back. 7-2 at this point. They're a deep team that uses, I think, a 12-man rotation. Is the question out there? There is a question out there if this Golden State Warriors team might be interested in a center. I don't know. But I think right now, they're kind of looking a lot like the teams that have made it out of the West before. But I think at some point they might need to get a big man, but we'll see what happens there. The Timberwolves, they haven't looked like themselves. They've been slow out of the gate. I think defensively, since they've lost Karl Anthony Towns and just trying to adjust to this trade, but they do have the X factor, and that is Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, because he is tremendous. He's a closer. I think that it doesn't shock me wouldn't shock me if he became the MVP of this league. And so I'm not too worried about them, but I think that their intensity level is not where it was at the end of last year, but it's a long season. And so I'm not too worried about Minnesota. The Denver Nuggets, same way. I think that the Denver Nuggets, they're going through some injuries right now, just getting Jamal Murray back from the concussion protocol. You have Aaron Gordon, who's out with the calf strain. So that's certainly going to take a little bit of a hit for them. One thing that Charles Barkley talked about on the NBA on TNT is that this team is terrible when it came to scoring off the bench. I think that they were dead last year. And when they won the title, they had one of the better benches. And so that is something that they need to figure out. Can they make a possible trade to get a player over that's going to help them out? I like what they have with Russell Westbrook, but they need to get more. The Memphis Grizzlies, bit concerning. They're already injured. You had Jaren Jackson Jr. come into the season injured. Ja Morant's already missing some games. Not a good look. I do like the fact that Zach Edey, their rookie, is starting to play very well. A lot of people were wondering, would his game be able to translate into the NBA? The Lakers hanging in there at this point in time. I think that JJ Redick, he's learning every game. And they're not bad. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they've been playing. They're going to rely a lot on these younger players and really them playing some big minutes. He's already benched D'Angelo Russell for effort and things like that. And so, look, I like what JJ Redick is doing. Can the Lakers respond? Are they going to be there late? Houston Rockets, eighth right now. Still a young team, still trying to figure it out. I know that they figured some things out last year. This is kind of where they were at last year. Can they take that next step? Can they qualify for the playoffs and not be in a play-in situation? And don't get me wrong, a play-in situation is going to be good for the Houston Rockets, but considering that their head coach was with the Celtics and they've been to the top of the mountain, or he's been to the top of the mountain there with the Celtics, I would expect that he's going to put those same type of expectations on the Rockets. The Clippers trying to hold on. Who knows what's going to go on with Kawhi Leonard? I think James Harden has played pretty well thus far. They're 5-4. Dallas Mavericks, that's a little bit surprising to me at 5-4. But again, I mean, look, 7 through 10, they're all 5-4. But the Mavs are going to be fine. I like the fiery speech from Jason Kidd last night where he said, look, we're trying to find somebody on the bench. Can somebody on the bench be an active participant with us? Because it can't just be Luka and Kyrie and Klay out there. And so I totally understand that. I think that, getting your rotations together and trying to figure that out, that's something that comes with just game after game experience. I think that they're going to be fine. Sacramento Kings, a little surprising that they're 5-4, but again, this is a team with DeMar DeRozan, the way that he can close games down. I think that they're going to figure it out. The San Antonio Spurs, Portland Trail Blazers, those are teams that I think clearly they're going to struggle because it is all about the youth movement there with both of those teams. And then with the Pelicans, yet again, you really banked on Zion Williams. Zion Williams, I believe last time I looked, is out indefinitely with a hamstring injury. And I don't know, man. He doesn't look any more different from the season before as far as shape and elite and stuff like that. And you didn't go out and get a big man. I think the Pelicans need one. Brandon Ingram is a player that he's in a contract year, possibly could be traded. The Pelicans, at some point, they've got to be more than, hey, we're just going to make some noise. At some point, you got to be like, okay, we're not just making noise. Like, we're going to be a factor in the West. And that hadn't happened with the Pelicans. And so I think that they're going to literally have to take a look at this roster as it's constructed and ask themselves, is Zion Williams really the centerpiece for the Pelicans? I think that that's a legit question. The Utah Jazz, look, this is a younger team that is trying to figure it out, and I don't doubt Danny Ainge and him figuring it out. But the Utah Jazz have a long way to go. I think that they are right there in that position with the San Antonio Spurs, Portland Trail Blazers, even the Chicago Bulls. I mean, they're trying to figure out a direction of what is best for this roster. How can they start to push themselves back up to being a contender? And so with that being said, that is today's show. We're talking a little bit here about the hot takes in the NBA. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. You can follow the show on Spotify. You can also catch me here on YouTube as well. Look, this is Real Talk Sports with Rico. We'll be talking a little bit of this NFL action here, wrapping up, I believe, week 10, some of these exciting matchups coming up. And so anyway, I'll see you on the next show. Rico, Real Talk Sports. Peace.